What is it, pal?
What? Hey, Chief.
What
Hey,
is it?
What's up, buddy?
Hey, fella. What's
Hey
it?
there, buddy. How are you? How are you doing this week? Every week. It's going to be like this every week.
Well, I'm going to get loud. So I think it was
Shit.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Was it Tuesday? I quit my job for like 5 or 6 minutes.
I remember. I tried to send you on mandatory vacation. You wouldn't go.
You're like, get up, pack a bag. I'm like, where the hell am I going? Knock it off. And then yesterday, Joss Whedon like blew up everything I loved.
Ah, son of a bitch.
And poor Charisma Carpenter and
Yeah.
and
So we just did it. We just released the episode.
Yeah, we just talked about
Right.
how do you separate the art from the artist.
But we had recorded that episode like 4 or 5 days before that information came out from Charisma. But I had told you after that stuff came out that his wife said, I told you that she'd said that he had mistreated some actresses, you know, but she was kind of vague
And I
about
thought
it.
it was just an ego thing. Like he's just
Right.
throwing around his ego, being an ego crazy person.
But didn't I tell you
Yeah.
that I was for sure that it was Charisma was one of the victims, right?
Because she had wanted, like season 5 of Angel or something, she had wanted to have a baby. And he said, no, you can't have a baby, which anyone who tells you anything
What you
to
can
do with
do,
your
yeah,
body
yeah.
should just be,
Like,
you know,
fuck off.
punched in the throat anyways. But then,
Or we could just tell him to fuck off. We don't have to hurt
well,
him.
no, you have to punch him in the throat, at
Okay.
least to a degree. And then, so she like says F off, and then
Yeah.
she goes and has a baby, and then he like gives her the worst storyline possible, and then we have to deal with Jasmine for the rest of the
Well, that was season 4, right? That was season 4. Season 5 is where she's in a coma at the beginning, and then she
season
comes
4.
back for one episode to say goodbye.
They give her this disgustingly creepy storyline, and we have to deal
Yeah.
with Jasmine's baloney, and just
Not that we don't like that actress, but the Jasmine character was kind of
no, because she's Zoe from she's Zoe from Firefly, which is now kind of taintedly gross too. So now
Well, anything
the
he
3
touches,
things
right?
that I love. So Buffy, Angel, Firefly.
Yeah.
I named my kid after a strong female character from Angel. And now he's like just infected all these things that just now women are like comfortable enough to talk about in a little bit of more detail, which just makes me sick to my stomach.
Well,
That any man should do that.
agreed. 100% agreed. It's so gross.
Barf.
Here's what I'll say. We named our daughter after Winifred Burkle, but we didn't name her after that character because Joss Whedon wrote that character, invented that character.
No.
We wrote it after her because
Amy Acker plays a great character.
that's an amazing character. And we fell in love with that character the same way that all of the other characters did.
I know.
Her name is not tainted because of that.
No, but if I ever see him, he's going to get a throat punch,
He's a piece of shit. He's a piece of shit. And, you know, the worst part about it is that he has created a lot of stuff that we like, right? Like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.,
That's
some of
what
the
I'm
Avengers
saying,
movies.
is like the talent is like big. It's you
a
know,
tough
it's
line.
it's very high quality talent. But if you're a douchebag or if you're a scumbag, you're gonna ruin
Yeah.
things that people love and make you money. So why? I don't get it. I'm kind of just disgusted with all of it.
Well, evil
because
people are evil because they're evil.
I know. It's just, it makes me sad, and it makes me want to go have conversations with my sons
Yeah.
and definitely my girl when she's older. And I just want them to stay as far away from scumbags as possible.
Well, 2 of our children are adults, and one of them,
One of them's going to be 19 tomorrow.
I know, one of them, though, the other one, the 22-year-old, he's like a moral compass.
I
right?
know.
Like when we recorded that last episode, I said, hey, I want you to listen to this and you tell us if we're off base and we will re-record.
Yeah.
Right? Because I trust
Yeah.
I trust him on this because he knows better than I do sometimes because he's just so like, you know, straight arrow there.
He has that thing where it's black and white. right?
Yeah.
He can go, it's either good or it's bad.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot of gray area for him specifically.
Which
and
can be
I
a
like that
drawback.
about him.
Yeah.
But sometimes it can be a little bit like, okay, just calm down just a second.
Sometimes there's nuance.
I don't know. I only
Sometimes
like the
there's new ants.
I only like the people I made now. I think that's my whole list
I know
of
you
people.
hate people.
Well, because every time I'm nice,
It's because they let you down a lot. People let you down a lot.
People let me down.
Yep.
And even this
It's trauma.
Yeah, I have no tolerance for it.
Yeah.
None.
Yeah.
So
it's okay though. It's okay. But
no, but it
we
made
would have
me
talked about the Joss Whedon thing.
Oh,
The whole
heck
point.
yeah.
We would have talked about that on the episode, but it wasn't at the forefront of our mind.
We're coming up with relative content because it's the more people get some space from that experience or that trauma or whatever, the more
Right.
comfortable they feel.
Yeah.
And so they start giving more details about their experiences.
Yeah.
And especially her, I think, as she's getting older and she's seeing her son, who
Yeah.
almost didn't happen if she would have listened to this crazy person, in the world and is a man now and all that. So I'm sure it's affecting her.
It makes me extra angry for two reasons. One, Cordelia was one of my least favorite characters at the beginning of Buffy.
In Buffy, yeah.
But by the end of Buffy, and then when she started to go over to Angel, I started to really go, oh, okay, there's some depth and something else there.
Yeah.
By the fourth season of Angel, before they gave her that crazy storyline with Connor, I was like, this is my favorite character in the entire multiverse.
Whoa.
I adore her, and I cry my eyes out every single time that fifth season episode comes on because I loved her so much. She's allowing people to have one-on-one chats for her for $100, and I want to give her the $100 and then just go in there and be like, I'm sorry, what happened?
You were awesome. The end.
You're awesome. Enjoy the $100. You don't even need to talk to me.
It's just, we forget, I think, as
that
people,
celebrities are people.
that celebrities are human beings.
Yeah.
They're going around, she's going around with the same thoughts and feelings that I'm walking around in,
Yeah.
and I can barely manage some days.
Yeah.
So how on top of all that does she deal with this guy who's basically giving her a livelihood, but then also being abusive? It just infuriates me.
Yeah, and when you're young and you're trying to make it in a business that's notoriously difficult and cutthroat,
Yeah.
you will tolerate a little bit more bullshit than you would
And
normally
that
at some,
is
like if you were working
not
at Kroger or something.
Fair.
No, it's not fair.
That
And
is
it's bullshit, but that's what happens. And that's, people go, well, why didn't you say something earlier? Because she was trying to just be.
If she had said anything earlier,
Would have ruined her career, probably.
It would have. Would anyone have listened?
No, probably not. No.
So that's why no one talks.
Yeah, and
that's
this
why
was back
no
in
one
the,
says anything.
This was back in the 90s and the early 2000s when it was even worse.
Yeah.
Right? Before the internet
Right.
was a big thing. And so that would have been a death knell for her career to come forward and say, hey, this person who's like a beloved creator of everything nerd is actually abusive son of a bitch, and he's been terrorizing me.
Yeah. No one would have listened. Forget if you're just a normal, regular, non-famous human.
Yeah.
Told my situation several times. Nobody cared.
Right.
The school system didn't care.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if that doesn't, it's not fair that people have to walk around going, well, no one's going to believe me anyway, so I might as well just keep it all inside, because that turns into something dark. I don't like that.
Well, I'm a person who was abused as a child, and then instead of saying, and there was no reason for me to think that my parents would be mad at me or hate me because they, weren't abusive parents. Mm-hmm. But I still was like, I can't tell anybody this. I'm a bad person because I let this happen. And I suppressed it for 24 years. So I can see why somebody in that situation would do that. I've been there, right?
Yeah.
Anyways.
So that was our
update to our last episode. Yeah.
And then I've been planning a surprise themed birthday for our kid. And now he's a little bit on the injured side, so now we can't have a fun Well, I can tell you guys because you guys aren't going to hear this until next week.
Yeah.
But I got him a bouncy house, and he's going to have bouncy house fun. But now he's injured, so
no.
I don't know. I'm going to have to go, here's a delayed.
Well,
here's a delayed birthday present for you.
He might be able to. We'll see. We'll see what happens tomorrow. I think it's going to be fun regardless.
Yeah.
Because it's now, that's 2 kids that are
I know.
full
over
adults.
18.
Yep.
But they're strong and smart and beautiful and funny and
kind.
And they're kind. Thank you. They're kind.
Yeah, they're kind.
They think about others before they think of themselves.
Almost all the time. Yeah.
They're always checking in on me and
you did a
always
good job,
like,
Mama.
You did too.
Yeah.
They're always checking in on me and always helping me out. And when the ice storm kind of hit and broke my 3 trees in the front, they were like, "Oh, you're wearing gloves, okay?" And Liam was handing me coffee. And
yeah, they're much better men than me because I was like, "What are you doing? It's too cold out there."
You're like, "I nearly froze my fingers.
I've got frostbite."
Liam was just like, "You've got gloves on? Okay, here's some coffee." And Bryce is like, "I'll hold the tree. You wrap the rope around it."
I'm so dramatic. I go, "Liam, do you want your mother to get frostbite?" And he goes, "She's wearing gloves. It's fine."
They're good guys.
Yeah.
I love them.
Yeah.
All right.
I just go to panic mode and then I think, oh, the way to like get you to stop.
Which isn't the way to get
No,
me
it's
to
wrong.
stop. It's
But
the
I
opposite.
can't, I don't know why. Like something triggers and I go, oh, the only way to stop her is to piss her off.
Or to scare her.
or to scare her. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I got to work on that. That's bad. That's a bad juju.
Anyways.
So is that it on our update? Do we have anything else?
That was my week. I mean, I don't know what happened to you, but that was my suck ass of a week.
So I've just been like, tweaking on Lehu, I've been trying to get ahead a little bit. So I've got a few weeks ahead on writing and drawing queued up, stuff I already had done, but I hadn't published yet. Mm-hmm. And so then I can work on some more stuff and kind of maybe stay a few weeks ahead of myself.
Whilst working on your novel?
Right. While writing the novel I've been promising to write for 10 years. I'm 5 chapters into. Actually, I started the 6th chapter this morning.
Yeah.
Before work. It's
how are you feeling about it?
I'm feeling good about it. I'm dumping it out, but it's changing from my original idea. It's changed a little bit. Mm-hmm. But I think it'll be better.
Yeah.
But it's got some.
That's always a good thing.
I think it was always going to have some autobiographical elements to it, mm-hmm. but it's ending up having more than I thought it was going to have. But I've had an interesting life, and it's not like me just telling my life. I'm exaggerating, for storytelling purposes. But
you got to go with what you know, and what you've been like confronted with.
Well, it's been rattling around in my head since Idaho.
That was like 14 years ago.
14 years ago. Oh, geez, I'm way behind.
Which ties into today's topic.
But I think it'll be good. It's something that I've like been concerned about since I was a child, mm-hmm. and I've always found that like when I'm concerned about something, writing it out helps. Yeah. And it does like even though it's just in a super rough form right now, it is helping.
That's what it's supposed to be.
Getting it out of my head. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just glad that you're doing it because I've been reading your short stories here and there, or just a Facebook post that you will post, and you're a really great writer. And I'm like, okay, well, where's more of this? Like I've read a couple like short stories. I'm like, okay, well, what happens then? Like, just give me more of it.
I'm really insecure about my writing.
I know, but you shouldn't be because it's great.
I think that I'm good at storytelling, mm-hmm. and I think I'm good at invention. Yeah. But I think I'm weak at grammar and punctuation.
Yeah, but that's that.
And so I wish, really like.
Yeah, I wish I'd have been able to like homeschool you because.
Yeah.
And I did help you with your multiplication.
Yes, you did. You did help me with that.
Is that writing isn't about punctuation. It isn't about like fragmented sentences. And
I know, but I live on the internet.
I know.
And there are people all over there. Nice job, comma splice. And like.
It's ridiculous.
I'm just. chatting on a forum. I'm sorry.
Also, here's a theory. You've probably just been told you're an artist. You're an artist. You're an artist. What a great artist you are.
Right.
And so you're right. You feel like you're an artist in lots of other ways too.
Yeah.
But you're like scared to put that part of yourself out there too.
Yeah, it's probably why I've only ever done short stories, right? Is because that's like finite and I can control it and get it done fast, and then I don't have to worry if somebody didn't like it. I didn't put too much time into it, but I got to get this out. I have to put it out of my head. If it never gets traditionally published, I'll publish it myself on Amazon or some shit. I don't know.
Heck yeah, we will.
Or just I'll put it on Lehu. I don't care.
Yes.
But I want to get the story out of my head.
Good.
Would I like to be a published author? Would I like to transition my career into writing full time? Yeah, that'd be amazing. But I also know that that's like winning a lottery. So I'm not like putting all my eggs into that basket, you know?
Mm-hmm. But put some of them in there.
Yeah. Well, no, I have hope. I just don't want to put like, I don't want to be like, oh, I'm banking on this.
No, but you've never done that.
No, I've never done that.
You've never done that. You've been a very good, like, logical headed.
Oh, also I started working on actual jingles for quote and thing of the week.
You did?
I did.
I'm so proud of you.
But I don't have them ready. Oh, I might have them ready by the time this is edited and launches.
Oh, okay, so we should leave some space?
Well, Liam can just edit in whatever space we need, right?
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, I'm just going to react well to this. Because it's going to be fantastic, I can tell.
I'm using GarageBand on the iPad because it's got like this little, it's kind of a cool interface and you can kind of move stuff around. And since I can't play a real instrument, I can put beats together and stuff, right? Or like melodies or whatever.
Well, Freddie's been playing with her little guitar and she's really good at it. So
yeah, what's the deal there? Is she
because
like,
there's no rules.
no, but
She just,
there's no rules and that's a toy and it should just sound awful, but she's making it actually sound okay.
because that's what music is. It's just,
I guess. I don't know.
it's supposed to be fun. It's not
I'm
supposed to have
insecure
rules.
about music too.
Well, that's silly too because I've heard you play guitar.
I'm insecure about anything that I'm not really already good at.
Well, okay, welcome to the 97%.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm just figuring out that I'm kind of an artist myself.
You are an artist and you have been for the entire time I've met you.
But I'm behind the camera kind of lady.
It doesn't matter. Those pictures you showing today at our prompt meeting were amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess we've never told anybody publicly about the prompts.
Nah.
Keep it to ourselves.
It's an internal
Matthiasaurus
company meeting where we have like an art prompt. And so we'll take turns each giving like a word or a phrase that will inspire all of us.
Yeah.
And so it was your turn this week. And so you came up with the word rad.
Yeah.
And if I just sit with it for a couple of days, I can figure something out. Because my art medium is different than your guys's. You guys draw whatever you want out of your heads, but I can't always do that. So I take pictures, and so the ice storm hit, and all the like plants out front were like encased in ice, and they were dripping and stuff. So it was looking really cool. So then I took those pictures, and then I put them in my little Photoshop dealie and played around with them and came out with some cool stuff, I think.
Yeah.
Some rad stuff.
I've done some of my favorite drawings for those prompts, and I've posted those on Lehu.
Yeah.
The one rad today will be up in probably 3 weeks.
Yes, that's okay. It doesn't matter when it hits for you.
No. I got an email today. This is update worthy.
Okay.
I got an email from Dribble. Somebody on Dribble saw my headshot sketch that I did for jamesmathias.com. Mm-hmm. And they're like, hey, I really like this. How much would it cost to get this done for our whole team? And I said, how many people on your team? And they said 20. And I gave them a price and they never responded back. So
oh no,
either it was too high or they're, still deciding or they haven't checked yet. But that was pretty cool. I like the idea of getting like illustration jobs that are like, not vector.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess I could probably get good at vector, but I also don't like the end result of of vector art most of the time, right?
And then, so that's how you know it's not for you.
Yeah.
Like, I like photography, and I think old cameras look really cool and stuff. But once you start talking like f-stops and like aperture rings at me, I just zone out.
Yeah.
Like, that part's not fun. The technical part of it is not fun.
For you, right?
Yeah, for me,
Yeah.
I don't really give a whole lot of like
Craps.
shits if it's like grainy or what the brightness is on. I just play with it till it looks cool in my head, and then that's what I go with. But really, I just like either a point and shoot kind of a camera, or I use my phone mostly.
Yeah.
And it, I share the Polaroid camera with Fred, and so she'll take these really cool pictures.
Yeah.
But she lets me take a couple here and there, and that's always fun because
She likes that a lot.
It's like a guessing game what you can get out of it.
Yeah.
Because the lighting has to be right and all that stuff. So there's not a whole lot of control. Once you put a whole lot of control on something, for me, that's not fun.
I've never been like super into all of that technical stuff about cameras, but when I was doing the Whiskerino and the Mustache Maze, everybody, it's like doing the best self-portraits possible with photography. So I started to get really into that. And I started experimenting with lighting, and some of my favorite photographs of myself have come out of that experimentation, you know? And just like, if I crank this all the way up and then use this bounce flash, what do I get?
Right.
Yeah.
And there was a couple like images you really wanted. You're like, you got to help me. You got to help me figure this out. I don't know what I'm doing. And I worked in a camera shop for a lot of years. But I was in the back developing film as the nerdy weird girl. But so I can figure it out if you just, okay, what do you want it to do?
What do you want to
you want to
happen?
stop time, basically, right? So the one that I remember specifically is you wanted to throw leaves up in the air.
Oh, yeah.
And have them be crisp. And you're very technical. And so I went out there with Bryce and I was like, just throw leaves up in the air and just let me shoot it and see what happens. And we figured it out. And it ended up being like this really cool picture where the leaves were kind of falling around you. And then it kind of made you a beard too. And I'm like, there we go.
Yeah. They fell in a way that you could see my mouth through them and it looked like a perfect beard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
And I'm
photo.
like, you just come out. You were mad. You were like upset that you couldn't get it to work. I'm like, you just come out, throw leaves up in the air until I tell you to stop.
Yeah.
And we got something good. So
I
think that's what it really comes down to is like, okay, what do you see this being?
Right.
Because then that's going to help me fix the problem. And I love fixing people's problems. But
is that your language of love, you think?
I don't know. It
Problem
probably
solving?
it is for you guys for sure. Because when Liam's like, man, this bookshelf is a little too small now.
Yeah.
What am I going to do? And I'm like, well,
we'll get you a new one.
I'm like, let's see. And I need to see the space. Let's go in the space. And so he's showing me what he needs and how these books are overflowing. And I'm like, well, this is a good problem to have. And because he's got more books than games probably at this point. I'm like, okay, this is all right. And then I'm like, oh, you just need a bigger shelf. And then we'll switch this around. We'll throw this out, blah, 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 blah. He's like, oh, okay, cool. I like doing that because then it makes you guys feel better.
Yeah.
And, I got to interior decorate a little bit.
Which you like doing.
Which I like doing.
Yeah.
I think it's fun. But like with someone else's budget would be nice.
Yeah, I think that's what frustrates me. It's not that I'm not good at something, but if I can't manifest the thing I see in my head, then I get frustrated.
Yeah.
It's not that I'll give up. Like I'll eventually go back to something and try to keep working at it. Like if I go, oh, I want to make the septopus reaching around the sidebar and touching the content, I know how to do that. So I can make that happen, right?
Yeah.
But if I want to throw leaves in the air and have them be crisp while I'm also in focus, I don't know how to do that. And so attempts frustrate me, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. We figured it out though.
We did. Yes, because you're brilliant and an artist.
I know what it's supposed to do.
Right.
But I don't like knowing all that stuff. Like I need to know other stuff.
Yeah, you don't know the jargon, but you know how to like you're saying, you want to stop time. You know exactly what to do with the camera. You just don't know what that's called.
Yeah, and I can't tell you how to do it. I have to go. It's
It's like somebody who plays music by ear. They might not know all the names of the chords, but they know where to put their fingers to get that sound.
It's like, let me show you for a second, or let me sit with it for a minute. I think that's my biggest thing is that I I just need a few minutes or a couple hours to like sit with the problem, go,
Yep.
oh, I know exactly where that is now, or I know
Right.
exactly what to do now. Because then I'm not put on the spot and it's like not time sensitive kind of craziness.
Oh, like the other day I was trying to make that TikTok video for like literally for like a 5-second joke, which I thought was great.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I can't do this joke with TikTok. I need to make the video and then upload the video. And then so I was like, well, I guess I'm downloading Adobe Premiere and I have to edit this clip, and I bought the music clip and I edited it, and then I finally, with Liam's help, to get the right aspect ratio.
Yeah, because
I got
he's the video guy.
Yeah, I got the video out. I uploaded to TikTok. It's the second it finishes uploading, I get a thing that says, sorry, you can't use this sound in your country. And they muted my video. And I'd spent like a couple of hours trying to get it to work.
Yeah.
And it was so frustrating because I finally got what I wanted, what I saw in my head, what I heard in my head. And so I haven't uploaded a TikTok video in a couple of days because of that, because I was so irritated.
You're just so mad about it.
TikTok's fun because I can just be kind of a goofball on there.
Yeah. I just have videos of my dogs.
I think those are cool videos, though. They're getting way more views than my goofball videos.
They're just my puppy doggies. All right.
What's up, guys? Full disclosure. All right, so quote of the week.
Insert. Oh, okay. Go ahead. What's the insert? What's the jingle for this one?
It's going to be the quote of the week jingle.
Oh,
We'll
okay.
put it in here.
Cool.
So, do you have the quote for the week?
Yes, I think I do. You gave it to me.
Yes.
It's by A.J. Campbell. Quote, all you have to do to transform your hell into a paradise is to turn your fall into a voluntary act.
I like that quote. I heard that quote for the first time today. I want to give credit to the person who told me that quote. It's a person from high school that I knew in high school that I now know on Facebook. Amy. I don't want to say her last name because I don't want to get her in trouble. But Amy, I appreciate that quote. It meant a lot to me, and it's a really good quote. And it was in context to an update I'd done on my health on Facebook. But it's a really good quote. You can look at it from a lot of different ways, right? But if you decide to twist a bad thing into a good thing, then it's just how you're looking at it at that point, right? It's a POV.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good quote. And I think it also applies to today's topic.
Yay.
The thing of the week.
Insert jingle here.
The thing of the week. Thing of the week. A-bop-boo-dee-da-bop. Thing of the week.
Let's just keep that.
No, it's fuck.
That's great. It's so great. Good job. I like it. It's
I want to
beautiful.
be. I wish I could be like Frank Sinatra, and I
Ew.
could just say whatever. No, I don't want. Sorry. I don't want to be Frank Sinatra or be like Frank Sinatra. He was not a good person, but I mean his
I don't
voice.
know.
Like he could just walk up to a microphone and be like, "Ba-da-ba-ba-ba, to fly me
Because
to the
all that
moon."
takes is ego.
I guess I don't know,
That's all it takes.
but he was just
Ego and blue eyes, I guess.
I guess, but he was just like, ba-da-ba, ba-da-ba, and people were like, "Damn." Anyways,
Damn, you got lots of money. I'll listen to you.
yeah. Do you think? Never mind. That's a. All right.
That's a
the
whole
thing of the
other
week.
thing.
What's the thing of the week?
All right, so I want to know. I want to know from you,
Aye,
and I
Lindsay.
want to know from our 4 listeners.
Yes.
Are there rules to getting older?
Yeah.
Are there?
It
and
depends.
what are they exactly?
It depends on your job.
Okay, that's messed up. Okay, because TikTok told me the other day that to the old people on this app,
Yeah.
if you have a side part and skinny jeans,
Yeah.
stop it.
Just stop it.
And I'm like, my initial reaction is, fuck you. Where do they get off? First of all,
I don't get that anyways. You can't control the way your hair parts, can you?
yes,
Can you though?
girls can. I mean, long-haired people can. Yes.
My hair just wants to part
Okay,
wherever.
we're not talking about like a natural part. We're talking about like a purposeful part.
Oh, I get
that
you.
most of
So you purposely put the side part in your dumb.
yeah, apparently, and women of a certain age cannot like do what? No, there's no rules to this.
Oh, okay.
There's
so I
no
think
rules to
there's
it.
an age limit for side ponytail.
No,
You don't think so?
fuck no. I think you can put your hair whatever color you want it. You can do whatever you want with your hair. You can shave your head. You can be a beautiful whatever, huge hair, no hair, wear whatever you want as long as covering your bits.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Go to town.
There's somebody, I can't remember from my past, that was like in their 40s or 50s, and they wore a side ponytail like all of the time. They were the boss of something somewhere I worked, I think. I can't remember their name, but they wore a side ponytail. And I just always remember going, and granted, I was a young person at that point in my life, so maybe it was just youth.
And male.
The ego of youth, but I was like, I don't think a side ponytail. I never said this to her. Like, I would just always think in my head.
That's the thing. You never said that to a specific person.
No, I would never say that.
You never told them to their face.
No.
Yo.
No.
Side ponytails. So 2019.
No, I would never say that. No, I don't think. I just think like if you're 50, side ponytail is probably not a good look. But
what if
maybe
she
you're
loves
right. Maybe it's wrong
to have a side ponytail?
Yeah, she clearly did because she was wearing it all the time.
Okay, then that is her hair, her deal.
It just feels like a little kid hairstyle though, right? Like I'm not talking about like a teenager. I'm talking about like a 5 or 6 year old.
Okay, but here's what you have to ask yourself.
Right.
Does it affect your life specifically?
No, and that's why I never said anything.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
But even if we have these thoughts about people, what is that thought that's really like, what is it really affecting us if someone else wants to have purple hair over the age of 20?
I don't know. I think I spent a lot of my life like observing humanity and looking for the comedy in it.
Yeah.
Like the comedy, because so much of my life has been tragedy. Right. I've always just looked for humor, and it
lightens everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so in my head, I'm like, side ponytail, come on.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. I get for the funniness.
But I would never say no. I would never. The only time I've ever commented on somebody's hairstyle, like out loud to them, was my mom one time when she got a really tight perm, and she came out into the living room and was like, "Look at my new haircut, everybody." And I was a teenager. I think it was like 15 or 16 years old.
Okay.
And I said, this was the rudest thing that I think I've ever said to anyone ever, and I regret to this day, but I said, "You look like Seb from Boston." And Seb was the drummer of Boston because he had the same haircut. Right?
But did you?
No, I didn't.
Did you know that was going to hurt her feelings?
No, absolutely not. And if I'd known that would be a hurtful thing, I would not have said it, of course. But I was being like a snarky teenager who thought he was funny. It was rude, and I apologized. It wasn't a cool thing to say, but even today, I'm picturing it, and it makes me giggle a little bit, if I'm being honest, because it was...
Because you're terrible? Because you're a terrible person?
No, because it was kind of right on.
No,
like,
you're terrible. No, you did not nail it. You're a terrible, terrible person. That's what it really comes down to.
I took my ability, my innate, uncanny ability to observe life and make reference, and I did that.
But you could have hurt someone's feelings. Don't chef's kiss this. 30 years later, jerk.
Okay, you're right. It was a mean thing to say.
Yes.
And I do feel bad about it.
How would you? No, there's no buts, man.
Okay.
None.
But sometimes we have to laugh at ourselves.
Okay, but you're not laughing at yourself, you dork. You're not laughing at yourself. You're laughing at the haircut.
No, you're right. And it is
a lady's haircut, perm color, whatever, is sensitive. Off limits is sensitive. You can't. No. If I walked out, and the other day I gave myself a pretty radical haircut, I think, in my view. I took clippers to my hair.
When you say radical, do you mean like totally radical dude, or like it was radical in that it's something you haven't done before?
Okay.
Both?
Probably a little of both, but more of the latter than the former.
I think it looked great.
You would never be mean to my haircut. You know why? Because you get punched in the throat.
No, because I learned my lesson 30 years ago by doing that, and I've never done it since.
If I came out with a haircut or whatever,
Right.
and the boys said anything other than, did you do something to your hair? That looks great.
Yeah.
Go you. You go, Mom. That looks great.
It would hurt your feelings and you would cry.
It would crush me.
Yeah.
Crush me.
I know. She cried and I felt really bad about it.
See, she cried?
In my memory.
Terrible, terrible person.
In my memory, she cried.
I'm going to get loud. Terrible. Mm-mm.
It was a terrible thing, but I learned my lesson from it, and
good.
I haven't repeated that behavior
That's good,
since.
I guess that's
it's because it's not nice to do,
Yeah.
but
so
sometimes I do still think in my head.
it's not fun. I'm going to throw something at you. I'm
No,
throw a
not
pen
that
at
that
you.
was funny, but sometimes I'll see somebody and go, oh, they look like XYZ person. But then because I can't control that thought,
Well,
but then I don't go up to him and be like, you look like the doctor from Voyager.
we are not thinking about, like, these people on TikTok weren't thinking that a side part in skinny jeans. They told us.
Yeah.
They said, if you have a side part and you wear skinny jeans, stop it. You are too old for this app.
Well, I just
And
cut him
all
off
of us from the 80s, late 80s and early 90s flipped those kids off because they're being little jerks. And we can wear our hair however we want.
Well, I just cut it off at the knees. I don't allow them to call me old. I did it first.
Also, it's not getting older. It's leveling up.
So I used to feel like that it was like a bad thing to get older.
Yeah, me too.
But when I turned 40, I had a really hard time. And you helped me through that by convincing me that it was a level up and it was earned and it was like a good thing and that not everybody gets that privilege.
Not everyone gets to do that.
Right. And it is a privileged thing to be, for me, it's even more privileged because I survived Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah.
I get to be 46. I'm heading straight till 47 and beyond, right?
Yeah.
So I shouldn't feel bad about it, but I do feel insecure about the fact that I started going gray at 26. And by the time I was 36, I was fully gray.
Yeah.
But not even gray, not like a cool, like salt and pepper beard. I had like a white Santa Claus beard.
Well, and it's because you're a red beard too. So that's going to go gray way sooner. I started going gray in my early 20s too, shortly after I had Liam.
It's not the same.
Okay, but I used to be scared of getting older
but
when
you
I
have
was
salt
young.
and pepper, and that now you have like a rogue streak from the X-Men.
but
You look
that
cool.
was
I look like a mythical fat man who lives in the North Pole.
It was very difficult for me when I was younger. I did not want to get older because I thought if I got older and I was still in the same like hurt and struggle, then I would never make it to 20.
Right.
I did not think about growing up at all, ever. I
didn't
thought
think you
about
were gonna
getting
make it
through
to
the
20?
day. No,
wow.
no. I thought if I could just get through that day. I was struggling from day to day, sometimes even like hour to hour, because it was just, it was unrelenting. And that's why sometimes even now when it gets to that point, I quit.
Yeah.
I have to walk away from whatever's happening because it's just too much. So I didn't think I'd make it to 20, 30, 40, forget 50. No way. So when I decided that it would be okay to grow up, it'd be okay to have a future, it'd be okay to have kids and get married and it gave me permission to be okay as I got older.
Yeah.
It was still hard for me. And so I turned 25 like 4 or 5 years in a row.
Yeah, I remember
and
that.
I dyed my hair all the time. And I was, I was just really embarrassed to have gray roots in my hair. And I was like, no way I would pull out my gray hairs. None. Did not want any of it until I had my little girl, or until I was going to have a little girl. And I was like, I don't want her to feel like I feel.
Yeah.
I'm still tough and strong, but I have those very, very insecure moments about a lot of my appearance, and my hair makes me feel female.
Yeah.
Right? My hair is part of my identity. You say, what does she look like? She has long black hair. Like, that's just part of who I am. And it's the one thing that you noticed about me when you very first met me.
Well, in fairness, the first time I saw you was from behind, so I just saw your hair.
Right. Yeah. But still, it's part of who I am. So
Yeah, it's part of your identity, right?
Could I let it go gray? Could I stop dyeing my hair completely and see what it's done? And the answer 5 years later is yes, because I did it. And there are times when I look at it after I haven't washed it for a couple of days and it looks crazy. But everyone has that. And because I don't have a whole lot of female friends, I don't see that side of things. But I give myself permission to be okay with it because my little girl is seeing me being female.
Yeah. I
or
think it
seeing
looks great,
me
personally.
have hair, whatever. And, you know, when you guys buzz cut your hair and she wants to cut her hair, I get, oh, no, don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Because I can't cut her hair at all. I haven't cut her hair her entire life.
I know, it's really long. I think your gray hair looks nice, but I've always kind of had a thing for gray in hair. Right? Like I've always thought, oh, just a little bit of gray or even fully gray looks really cool. But only on you. On me, it looks idiotic. I tried dyeing my beard.
Oh, yeah, we did try.
I tried dyeing it. I got the beard dye from the store and I put it in and it looked good. It looked like it was going to be nice and brown. And then I got in the shower and I rinsed and I got out and it was white again.
It's like the movie The Santa Claus.
It's like the
Just
Santa Claus.
would not take.
It wouldn't take, yeah.
So I've learned during research that sometimes gray hair is very resistant to color change.
Why?
And I don't know. It's something in the proteins of it or whatever. It just won't. So do you think that people have judged you?
Yes, 100%. I know for a fact.
In what ways? Like examples, please.
Just like for sure during job interviews, I've been judged for it, right? Because like I'll get to the...
Because you like wearing a beard.
I will never not wear some sort of facial hair. It just, I don't know. I just don't feel normal without it.
If you were being comfortable and you were wearing a beard and it's white,
right?
You feel like what?
Well, I'll get to the final round of interviews before anybody's seen me in person, and I'll be like their favorite person candidate, and then I'll get to that last round, and then all of a sudden now there's something wrong, and I'm not good for the role anymore after they've seen me, right? And now I'm not saying like every time I've had an interview and that I didn't get the job, it's because they were saying, oh, he's too old. But I know there's been at least one or two times that that's been the case, right?
Yeah.
And specifically about AutoZone, I want to say that they've never made me feel, nobody at AutoZone has ever made me feel too old or like I don't belong. Yeah. In fact, I probably, rebel against belonging there more than I should, right? Like, but I think that nobody there has ever said anything to me that has made me feel old or bad about myself or anything. The industry that I chose to make my career in skews young for the workers, and I probably should have transitioned into management 10 years ago, but I like still tinkering and building and making things. I don't want to stop doing that. But my career is like starting to say, hey, this group of 22-year-olds doesn't really want you on their team because you're crazy old, right? What
do you think happens to those 22-year-olds eventually?
Well, that's again, I don't have any proof or evidence. It's just a gut feeling of like...
You can feel it.
Yeah, like, oh, we love you. This is great. And then their excuse for not hiring me is always something that's like... impossible for me to prove otherwise.
Right. On purpose, right? Right. To cover their butts.
Right. Because they can't say, hey, the majority of the team just thought you might be skew a little old. Yeah. Which is fine. I get it. I don't want to work with 90-year-old people, I guess. I don't know. I don't care really about your age, right? Like I currently at AutoZone, I have coworkers who range all along the spectrum, right? I have coworkers that are the same age as my son. Yeah. But I also have coworkers that are closer to my age. Right. So maybe that's why, I'm at AutoZone right now, so that, I can blossom my career or whatever and
write books.
And write books, I guess. But yeah, I do have a couple of times that I've interviewed back when...
Where you just had that feeling, that gut feeling.
Yeah, when I was interviewing for, after the Ellis Lab thing ended and I was interviewing to get a new job where I eventually took AutoZone, there was a couple of those interviews where I felt like, oh, they love me. But then as soon as they saw me, they changed their mind about me and came up with some weird, like, oh, you used a pie chart and I hate pie charts. So
Oh my gosh.
that's why we're not going to move you forward. Well, okay, that's weird. Maybe that is the truth. Maybe, right?
But it just makes you go,
Well, kind of in my gut, I felt like, oh no, there was something else. Because when I first jumped on the video chat, that person was like, oh, hello, hi. Like they were shocked that I looked.
So ridiculous, because you can't help.
Well, I can't prove it either. It's just,
you can't help when you go.
I'm not saying that anybody has been ageist against me. That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that there have been times when I felt like that was the case.
Yeah.
And I don't put that blame on that person. You can't control how you react to somebody for the first time you see them. And you also can't blame somebody who's 22 years old trying to hire another designer to work with them 8 hours a day, 7 days a week, or 5 days a week, wanting that person to be closer in age to them so that they have more in common and can, you spend a lot of time with your coworkers, right?
I guess I can kind of see that.
I can see it. And that's why I don't like really blame people for it. But it is something that as I get older, I've become more concerned about.
Yeah.
And I've had recruiters and, career counselors tell me that ageism is 100% actual real thing in this industry.
Yeah.
And that there's nothing I can do about it. And that's
so frustrating.
It is frustrating. But the cool part is if I do transition into management at this point, then I can just be a manager.
Yeah.
And managers get to be older and nobody cares.
Well, that's kind of sad though.
Yeah, but I can create stuff anytime. I don't have to be employed to create stuff.
Yeah. I felt like that too, because, when I got it on both sides, I think.
Right.
Because when I first had Liam 22 and a half years ago tomorrow,
Yeah.
They didn't see me as his mom. Like I would take him to the doctor or take him to the pharmacy or whatever. And they'd go, are you his nanny or his mom?
Because you were young.
Because I was young. I was 19 when we had him.
Yeah.
And so I got the young, oh, you're too young looks, right? The side eye. And I know it's happening. I'm visible. I can see what people are doing.
Right.
Or like play dates and there's older moms, right? And I'm young. And it's just the way they word things or whatever.
Yeah.
And we didn't have like all the things that you're supposed to have as parents before you start having kids and whatever. And now.
Yeah, we weren't prepared, but we made the best of it.
And now when I was pregnant with Freddie, it was.
You were too old.
Now I have gray in my hair and now I have. How you have 3 other kids?
Yeah, when I tell people that our kids are 22, 19, 14, and 5, they go, oh.
Yeah, it was like, you make up these narratives in your head that you think people are talking like, oh, is this her second marriage? Like you just think these things, these wild things.
My narrative is always this. They think that I'm a weird pervert.
Well, because older dudes usually are, or what?
I guess. I don't know.
Anyway, it's silly. It's so silly.
Because I have a 5-year-old.
It's so silly to blanket anything in a judgment like that.
But I look 103, to be fair to people.
You do not. And that happened one time that you were at a Waffle House or something with your friends.
I was at a Waffle House with Trey, and he is only 10 years younger than me. And the Waffle House lady is like, oh, is that your kid? And I was like, yeah, I'm 72. This is my 45-year-old son. And the lady believed me. And I was like, and I was joking around and like playing. But then after I left, I was like, God, that kind of actually felt shitty.
Do you see where your jokes lead you, sir? Do you see?
Yes, but I got to laugh. I got to laugh at life or else it's not worth it.
Anyways, so I think... What's the moral of this whole thing? No, there are no rules to get older.
I think age is not. I don't think like there's like a set of like, okay, when you hit this age now, this is all you are allowed to do.
Yeah. Can we just talk about if I turn 50?
Yeah. I'm kind of worried about 50.
I'm a little worried about it too because I didn't know I was going to be here. Yeah. At 50, if they start sending me AARP cards or whatever, I'm out. Like I'm out of it. I will never accept another piece of mail. I just don't want it. I just don't want that.
But that's you being ageist now too, right?
I guess, but I just don't. Okay, I'm okay with leveling up. I am not okay with, here's your slippers. Now I'm not okay with just like, okay, now you retire and you move out into a field.
Thank you for calling AARP. How can I help you?
Just don't.
I'm not a grandfather. Please stop sending me this mail.
I guess we all want that, but I want to be the cool lady that, oh my God, you're how old? You don't look it. I want that. Where is that?
I get people go, what, you're only 46?
I want, ooh, girl, you look good. That's what I want.
You build up real nice.
Hey, those ladies love you. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I'm going to wear my side part, and I'll wear a side ponytail, and I'll wear my skinny jeans, and all these other girls better shush it, because they're going to be old one day too. And they were eating Tide Pods, okay? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think that's the thing is when you're young, you don't realize, oh, I'm also going to, I'm going to reach that soon in my life. And it's, I say soon because really 100-year lifespan is not very long, right?
It goes so quickly.
Yeah.
And once you I'm just, whatever, you're going to be them.
Yeah.
So why in the world, I know, I get the feeling that you just want to be like, to quote Top Gun, it's like you just want to go Mach 10 with your hair on fire. I get that. Yeah. Young people, they just want to go buck wild until it stops.
Yeah.
But what if it doesn't stop and it just keeps going? And then you have kids and you have the house and you have the cars and then you start getting old looking.
Right.
Then what do you do?
Yeah.
Do you just accept the gray hairs and own it and still live in your time era of, this music is cool to me, so I like it? Do you be real to yourself and real to your loved ones, and it doesn't matter what everybody else thinks?
Yeah, I think you be real with yourself. But the industry in general, the design industry specifically, not so much on the development side, but on the design side, it does very much feel like, I worked fast food when I was younger, right? Like 19, 20 years old. We would be like, oh, that old person that works here, why do they work here? You shouldn't be old and working here, right? That's what it kind of feels like in this industry is like, oh, you've hit a certain age. Now you should be the manager. And if you're not the manager, what did you do? What did you fail? Like maybe kind of, and I don't have this experience, so I don't know if it's exactly 1-to-1, but I imagine it'd be also kind of like going to college late, right? Where everybody's 20, 22 years old and you're like 40, but you just finally could go back to school and you're trying to better your life, right? Yeah. So that kind of like feeling of being outside, right?
Yeah.
And I've always felt like an outsider, right? That's why I call myself an outlaw, is because I've just always felt kind of like on the side of the road while everybody else is walking together in a group and I'm by myself, right?
Yeah.
So some of that ageism is in my head, right? It's just me feeling bad and insecure and not necessarily what's the truth. I don't think that there's much you can do about it because it's kind of just a cycle of life thing, right? Yeah. When you're young, you're not thinking too much about being old. And then when you're old, you're thinking so much about it.
Yeah.
And so then stuff feels heavier and more intense than it really actually is. And I probably don't do myself any favors by being like, oh, I look like 120, right? Like joking around about it because I'm insecure about it instead of just being like, okay, well, there's a reason I have a white beard. I should just rock it. Because a lot of people have told me, hey, it looks great. Your beard looks great.
Yeah.
But then I look in the mirror.
The whole time I've been with you.
Yeah, but then I look in the mirror and I feel like that stereotypical.
You're looking through a filter.
I feel like that stereotypical miner character that comes out with the flat front of the cowboy hat, kind of hunched over in the old westerns, and he's like, "What are you doing here near my mine?" That's what I feel like. That's what I feel like other people see, even though I know that's not true.
Yeah.
Right. So,
when you're young, you have people looking out for you too, and you have this whole you hopefully, I guess, in the best case scenario, you have these people looking out for you and being like, oh, it's, you know, you're young, you're fun, you're whatever. And then when you get older, it's all on you. You don't have that people around you as much.
Yeah, the whole adulthood thing too, right? I think that puts a big cramp on.
Yeah, it's now it's up to you to look out for your other people.
Yeah, now you are not just checking the mail; you're actually having to pay those bills.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's tough. Yeah, it is tough. So that's being age. I do like the idea of leveling up, though, and I do like the idea of embracing the fact that not everybody gets a chance to be 50. Not everybody gets a chance to, level up their life. And also, over time you learn new stuff that you didn't know when you were younger, right? There's
always a chance to pivot.
Yeah.
And to reinvent.
I think that's a thing where people are concerned about diversity on teams, right? And so they'll say, okay, well, we need to have a percentage of women, and we have to have a percentage of LGBTQ, and we have to have a percentage of Black people and a percentage of other people of color on our team, so we can be very diverse. Mm-hmm. But they don't really think of it like age as a diversity metric as well, right? Mm-hmm. So like they might have a super visually diverse team, but they're all the same age people. Yeah. And so they all have very similar life experiences and work experiences.
Yeah. And that's
not necessarily a bad thing. I'm not saying, oh, old white guys need to be part of the diversity curve. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying just, spread, like get a couple of people in their 30s and one person in their 40s.
Yeah, because we all have something to teach each other.
Yeah.
We all have different things and different experiences that we can bring to the table. But if everyone's 22, not a whole lot of things are getting done.
Right. And your other diversity inclusions on your team can just be aged up, right? You can say, okay, we're going to hire this 47-year-old Black guy. And then we have this age diversity, but we also have, our cultural diversity as well. And I think that's a good thing to do. But I think that age piece gets overlooked specifically in certain industries, right? Yeah. Like design's one of them. I think if you're 46 years old and you try to go get a job at Taco Bell, it's going to be a similar thing, right? Like they're going to be like, well, why do you want to work as a cook at Taco Bell? Yeah. Well, maybe I'm like Andy Kaufman and I just want to like have a job. I have to work with my hands for a little while. Yeah. Every day, I don't know. I think that we spend a lot of time trying to decide who not to include in things and less time. What am I saying? We spend a lot of time thinking about who to include in things and not enough time thinking about, are we including all of the right things, right? Mm-hmm. So anyways, I don't know. I have a good job. I'm, transitioning into management at that job and my career is going to be fine, right? But I do worry about it as I get older, like being less relevant to the career that I've chosen, right? Yeah. I don't think that I'm like your typical older person in the industry though, because I'm constantly like, oh, what is the new thing? Let me learn this. Let me move over here. Let me figure this thing out.
Yeah, I think that's what ages you. Is when you go, okay, I'm good here.
Yeah, and you stop.
With technology, with music, with TV shows, with, your wardrobe, with your hair, with everything. You're like, I'm good right here. Yep. And then you don't keep evolving and keep growing and keep learning and keep, I don't feel old. I don't.
Keep growing,
Some people would consider my age as old, but I don't feel old. And I don't at all feel old until I go, whoa, I'm going to be how old? Like, even it catches me sometimes because I don't feel 40 anything.
Well, I don't feel 46 either. Yeah. But I look older than 46, right? So then I'll be like jogging down the street like a little 12-year-old and I'll be like, fart, poop, joke. And then somebody will go, how old are you, dude? And I'll be like, oh yeah, forgot.
It's silly. Yeah. It's a silly thing, I think. I think it needs to be right. Case by case, experiences by experience basis. And then, if there's a cool dude or a cool lady and they're over 40, give them a chance. Like For crying out loud.
Yeah, the problem with those, you can't know like how
I
cool
know.
somebody is in 30 minutes of talking to them, right?
I get that. But maybe you do. Maybe you do.
Yeah, and you know, like some of those things where I came away and went, well, they clearly thought I was too old. Maybe that's my insecurity, and it really just wasn't good enough for the job, right? Like that's a possibility too, for sure. It's just like it seems to me that in the design industry, the more experience you have is almost harmful.
Oh.
Right? Like if you've been working for 20 years in the business, there's some assumption that you got stuck 20 years ago and you haven't been modernizing your process. So it's even harder to like get interviews for in that space. But I don't know. That's all just personal anecdote. It's not really like I don't have any numbers or you know, for sure this person neglected or rejected me because I had a white beard, right? I don't know that for sure. Yeah. Those are just my gut feelings on certain interactions. And I've had really great interviews that get me, I've gotten all the way to the end and I was second in line, right? Mm-hmm. But I didn't get it. But it wasn't because I was old. Yeah. Right? It was just because that other person was just a little bit better than me.
For whatever reason.
For whatever reason, right? It was their opportunity, not mine. And that's fine too, right? Like,
it's hard because, you know, you expect people to judge you because you know your insecurities. No one else does. They just know their insecurities. Yeah. So we're all just like a bunch of insecure, judgmental judgies walking around.
Judge dreads.
Being, you know.
I am the law.
Being lunatics with each other. Yeah. I don't think that's fair.
No, it's not. It's not fair. Well, all right. God, it is late. I gotta
Date night.
I gotta get to bed. It's super late.
It's 10:30, Pop. Calm down. Sheesh.
All right. Well, thank you. I love you.
I love you too. Old man.
The Lou and Me podcast is a Matthias Source production. The song is No Carpets by the New Forevers. Produced and edited by Moose. Hosted by Lou and me.
Thanks for listening.